guys. This is Team Huddle. You're watching our live discussion, and we're gonna touch on a very controversial topic, and it's gonna be revolving around whatever that was very hot on social media, on news past 2 weeks. But we're gonna approach this topic more casually with these two runners on board. I have Lisa, Ariffin, and Yim with me here. And for those who don't know, these two are the Malaysian ultra runners. They themselves have run, several ultra marathons events. And yes, for those who don't know as well, what Huddle does is we are actually an amateur sports app that provides a platform to showcase amateur youth and women's sports. So what we do, we curate the amateur sports content, and this is one of the things that we're trying to do during MCO. Conducting virtual discussions with different stakeholders holders in the sports industry. All right, guys. So let me just pose the first question to you guys. How has MCO life been treating you too?
Yim, would you like to go ahead?
I thought it's always ladies first.
That's right.
Okay, I'll go ahead then. Well, MCO life in general, when it comes to doing sports, as we all know, have been quite difficult, I'd say, but not impossible. So there have been lots of videos that people have been recording for home workouts, which I think has been really helpful. We've got a lot of groups that are on Twitter that have been sharing a lot of tips and motivation, which is really good for the community in general. And of course, Abang Yim, who's recently done a massive ultra marathon in his own living room. And I think that in itself is just, I think if that doesn't motivate you, then I can't really think of anything else that will.
That's amazing. You want to talk about like how did the whole thing go? You running 263 kilometers.
Well, yeah, thinking back, I think it's bizarre and a bit stupid though. It's just a spur of a thing, because basically what happens was that there was this so-called charity virtual event called 10,000 kilometer date by a bunch of runners, and the whole purpose of this event is to get as many people as possible run in your home, and every 10,000 kilometer 10 kilometer collected, one face mask will be donated to various designated hospitals as well as old folks home. So that was the gist of it, pure out of fun, I would say, and do something useful while you're doing it. So it's a 36 hours challenge. It doesn't mean you have to run 36 hours like I did. Any much you can do, anyhow you can break it into different sessions, it's up to you. But you know me, I like challenges, and I saw something in it very different, because as Lisa was also saying just now, how have life changed with CMO in place? It has changed, no doubt about it. And basically, as runners, and an imminent change that's coming, we don't quite like to embrace the change, of having to stay put at home. But it doesn't mean that, exercising or running outside or being healthy outside is dead. There are, again, as Lisa said just now, that there are various ways you can also bring it indoors and not die of boredom. So I ran. I thought I was just going to do about, 40 km or whatever and stop at it, and that's about it. But one thing led to another. I've got to 14 kilometers, and I said, hey, this isn't that bad. It's a bit fun, because I had my cats around. They were bugging me. They were clawing me. I had to step over them and things like that. And very different, because I just went on and on and on. And before you know it, I reached 100 kilometers in about, I think it was 18 hours or whatever it is. So I thought, why not go the distance? And one thing led to another again, and I finally got to 200, and eventually 263 was a magical number. I decided that time's up.
That's great. It's nice to see how people were trying to find outlets to channel their energy to, and you chose this on a good basis, on a charitable basis as well. And you just couldn't stop running. I think that's what every single runner would agree to. Once you start, you can never stop.
Yeah, I think blame it to the happy endorphins that your body produces when you exercise, and it makes you feel good, it makes you feel happy, and you want to just do it day by day.
That's true. Okay, back to you, Lisa. Did you, besides, did you do anything special during this MCO? I've seen actually one of your posts that, we've been during these tough times, we've always wanted to look out for people who need help. You've been trying to offer help to buy groceries. You want to talk about that? That's really nice.
Oh, right. So I've before the whole MCO started, I had a neighbour who's quite elderly. And I did approach her to say, "Are you okay? We're going to go under, in looser terms, a quarantine for 2 weeks at that point." So before it started, it was 2 weeks. And she was saying that she had run out of food and she was having problems finding transportation to go to the supermarket. And then I said, this is an issue that we need to address in Malaysia. And I put out a tweet, and turns out there have been communities already doing it, but that sort of solidified the initiative and people coming together to help each other. And the hashtag Kita Jaga Kita, I think it's really, really good. And whenever you click on it, there's just so many stories about how we're always looking after each other. And I think that's just amazing that we can all just band together during difficult situations.
That's really nice. Actually, for those who don't know, the hashtag Kita Jaga Kita was actually inspired by our local cartoon movie, Agent Ali. So it's a symbolic hashtag actually. So in that cartoon movie, it actually says, we're looking, the people always have to look out each other against the government or with the government, regardless in whatever sense. All right, guys, let's get it started. Actually, I want to ask this. It's I think it's been a fired questions that we've been meaning to ask you guys actually. What do you think? Back to the topic that we are actually touching on today. We've been seeing all these joggers still running out there despite the notice coming from the government. What's the actual real reason behind this whole chaotic situation of joggers not being able to stay at home despite this is already a considered MCO period by the government? Well, what do you think? What's your take on that? Yim, you wanna start first?
Yeah, sure. I think in the initial couple of days, although the restrictions were being set and it was enforced, I think it wasn't clear to a certain degree what it entails. Yeah, from so much as a perspective of people who want to run or exercise outside. So I think there was a bit of a gray area there, what one could do or couldn't do. And that's where everyone got confused for quite a while. So everyone thought that, I need to stay at home most of the time, but I'm still okay to go out for a little run so long as social distance myself. Yeah, I think that was what everybody thought of. Even I thought the same. But, eventually as the days roll by and then, you see a lot of viral videos going on. And then only that sort of clarification came from the authorities to say that you're basically homebound, full stop. Yeah. And and by that time, I think there were a lot of damage done, especially if you've seen pictures, videos from a certain area in the Klang Valley, which wasn't a great thing to start off with. So that's my take on it. Why this whole sort of went out of proportion and then it sort of blew out.
And so that's I think that's the confusion has been cleared now. But then we're talking about the situation back in 2 weeks, right? Lisa, what's your take on that?
Exactly like Yim, because I had a lot of people messaging me and saying, in a legal point of view, as a lawyer, what do you think of the rules that have been set in place? And to be honest, when I first read it, it was really, really vague. There were a lot of terms that weren't clearly used. So were we allowed, like Yim said, were we allowed to go out but practice social distancing? Or, was cycling allowed? Was jogging allowed? Was just going out for a walk or taking a breath of fresh air allowed? There were a lot of things that weren't answered. But over a few days from when the whole MCO period started, I think that has been clarified by the government. So I don't really see that the definition of it being an issue anymore.
Mm.
Because we know that we're not allowed to go out and exercise and run.
In the first place, I try to be fair to the joggers as well. Like, I understand there are a lot of loopholes that they could have used to their advantage, and that's why they think it's still okay to go. But yeah, as you said, now it has been defined precisely by the government. The very fact our Prime Minister had to go on a public announcement over and over again, I think it makes sense now, right?
I just had to interject there. I think in that state of confusion there, there was quite a number of not really great examples set by certain people. Yeah, when I say certain people, in terms of runners, are people that you have a wide fan base, people look up to as idol, coach, or whatever it is. And during that confusion, we can see that this category of people also went outside to run and then proudly posted on their Strava, Garmin, whatever. And then, people sort of take the cue from there that, oh, it's okay. He does it. I'm going to do it too. Why not? Yeah. And so that herd mentality goes out of bounds by that point. That was the point I was trying to make there.
Yeah, it's the term that we want to use here now is you don't want to open the floodgate. That's what the government is trying to do, but they have to realize that they were not doing it that clearly in the first place. But now everything has been defined, right, in that sense.
Sure.
Like, so let's talk about this one thing, because I do run, but I don't run professionally like you guys. So I don't really get this endorphin thing. Is it really addictive? Or you guys just build that out in your mind, trying to find an excuse to still go out running? So let's talk about that. Is it really a myth, or is it something real that do you joggers really have itchy legs if you guys don't go out running for one day?
I wouldn't describe it as an itch so much as a very happy feeling that you get when you're running. And that does happen. And that's this urge to actually prolong that feeling as long as possible. And when you don't get it, you just want it. And you find ways to get it, healthy ways to get it. So when you said what alternatives do we have? It's finding that high indoors through, even if you don't have a treadmill, a lot of people have been running in place. Just get your body to be active, running around the living room, as Yim knows. And I've seen exercise videos that you have put up as well, Ellie, and that's how you sort of get that feeling. It's quite addictive.
I totally understand. It's keeping us sane, right? Because we're stuck at home. Like, Yim, you have the same opinion as well?
It's definitely not a myth. I mean, when I started running, pretty much when I took it up about 10, 11 years ago, I used to dread it because in the early 38 years of my existence, I hated exercising. My life was just wake up, go to work, eat, smoke, sleep. And that was life, that. And then when I found running when closer to the age of about 40, and then, I just gave it a chance. And then, unfortunately, I'm so hooked on it, I can't get rid of it anymore. So I've been running longer, further, and more tougher challenges. It is not a myth. It is that, my own sanctuary. When I laced up, I get up into the streets or the trails, that's me and myself, and my thinking thoughts keeps on flowing in my mind. And that makes me sort of happy for the whole period of running out there. Well, until you stop and you come back, and then it's back to normal.
That's really nice.
So it's a drug. It can be an addictive drug, unfortunately.
Someone said in the comment, it says that it's called a runner's high. Yeah, so you actually
call it what you want. So long as you're happy with it.
That's right. So someone asked, how did they come to start running? Do they remember their first run? Lisa, you want to tell us? You want to share a story on that?
I think a lot of people can relate to this. I started running after my first breakup.
That's a valid reason.
It's just
Yeah.
one of those things, and it's more common than you think actually. And the more runners you speak to, they always go, "Oh yeah, I broke up. I started running." So it started off with that, and also a desire to lose a bit of weight, and so I started running in 2011 casually. And then, I couldn't even run for 5 kilometers. I struggled so much. I remember my first run was only 1.2 kilometers before I gave up entirely. I said, no way I'm doing this. But then you get past your first 3 kilometers. And then once you do 3, you say, okay, maybe I can push it to 5. And then you do 5. And then you go, maybe a bit more. And then you do 10. And then you do 21. And then you do 42. And then you realize...
And then you completed IronMan.
And then you do
Half,
that.
but still.
Yes. So it's a gradual progress, and I'd say if you're starting out, start off at a very comfortable pace. You're only in competition with yourself, not with anyone else. And of course, look up to people, but don't compare yourself to people.
That's true. You, Yim, you remember your first run you want to share with us? It seems like it's a funny story that you couldn't stop laughing.
I don't think it's funny. It's more hurtful than anything, because I think when I got into running, it was more because of getting fit. Because the office guy says, "Hey, it's a good idea. Let's go and climb Mount Kinabalu." And I was like 88 kilos at that time, fat, and exercise was nothing to me. So I picked up, started with a bit of fitness there, walk a bit, gym a bit, things like that. Eventually we did scale up Mount Kinabalu. So from that onwards, when I came back, and it just hit me and I thought to myself, why do I need to just stop all of this, what I've been working for the last couple of months, to get fitter, thinner, things like that. So I continued with my so-called jogging exercise, and eventually I got hooked into it. Like Lisa said, you started with a kilometer, 3 kilometers. And he says, "Oh, that's not too bad. Let's go 5. Let's go 7." Eventually, I remember my first running event was Stan Chart 2009. Okay, it's a long time ago. It was only a 10 kilometer, but man, that was the dariest time of my life, because I was just running a couple of kilometers, things like that. And if I've told you that it took me about close to an hour 45 minutes just to finish a 10K, most of my runners friends out there will be like laughing their heads off. Seriously, it's just slow. Yeah. So from there, I realized that where are my critical points, where are my weaknesses, and what do I need to get better at them or fixing them. And eventually, I could get down to an hour, which is perfect. And then, like Lisa said, let's go for 21. Why not?
Yeah.
Next challenge. So when you get to 21, it's like, oh, it's just 21. Oh, no big fuss about it. Let's do a marathon. Did that too. And then like I say, it's like a little drug that you want something bigger and better drugs as you move along. So when 42 was so-called a norm, in my whole journey, so I started dabbling into trails and ultra. That's a different new challenge, and I'm crazy about challenges. Throw it all to me, and I'll try to get through it. So I did 50 kilometers, and then eventually the next, I think 1 year, I attempted a 100 kilometer ultra. Yeah. Also, the first time is the love of my life, so to speak. It's just one of the toughest things back then. But then when you start getting comfortable over the months and years over that, that's not too bad with a 100 kilometer. What's next? So when you dig around the internet, looking at stories of great runners doing 100 miles, which is 160 kilometers, 200 kilometers, 300 kilometers, you think to yourself, I can't do that. Even I myself run a lot. I thought that it's impossible. Nobody can even accomplish that in that given time. So it was a challenge, and I got through all of those in time. Yeah. Again, like Lisa said, don't compare yourself with whoever out there or whatever. Run within your own means and your capabilities. So when I had enough of so-called ultra running, I thought that what's harder than just running? And then that comes IronMan. So I thought, running is one component I'm already good at. So how hard is it to cycle? I know how to cycle when I was like 10 or 12 or whatever. I didn't fall and end up in the Longkang or something. So I got a cheap bike, and I said, okay, cycling outside is quite fun, not too bad. And then my Achilles heel was, I think, swimming. The only remembrance I had with swimming was my dad going in the end of the pool, and then he told me that I think that was what, as far as I remembered when I was a little kid. So I don't really know how to swim. I've never taken correction classes or things like that. Actually, to be honest, my first IronMan Malaysia, Langkawi, or IronMan Malaysia, that was in 2014. Swimming was my weakest, and I just pushed myself to swim like I don't know, a cow or whatever it is, and make sure that I finished the swimming league on time, and that I was happy with. Yeah. So eventually I got through Ironman. It's another tough cookie to conquer, to be honest. A lot of questions come back to me. It's like, oh, you've done a 100-kilometer ultra trail and things like that, and you've done 5 Ironmans right now. How do they compare? Like I said, it's a bit hard to compare apples and oranges. There are different disciplines, although there's a bit of overlapping there. You have to have certain skills in swimming. That's not something you can just pick up on the go, because swimming out in the vast open sea and you get tired or you get cramps or anything, you just can't sit by the curb and rest. You'll drown. Yeah, it is a dangerous and risky prospect there. But I know if you are equipped with the necessary basic skills at least, I think it's a matter of just putting your mind to it with the sufficient training in place, and you can get through it. So Lisa, I'm waiting for you to complete your first full Ironman anytime soon.
It's definitely about mind over matter. It's like embracing the gradual stages that you take throughout your running career and all. So understood. Okay, guys. Back to the topic. Actually, now that Lisa has mentioned that the government has now cleared up the definition of staying home and things that you can't do or things you can do, right? So even in that light, like there are still runners going out there on the basis that, look, we are running on these empty roads because at the end of the day what the government wants is social distancing, so we make sure that we don't run next to each other, we don't run in big crowds. How do you counter, or how do we make them understand better that's not actually what the government wants? Not even just the government, the whole health ministry, whatever the purpose or the intention of this directive. How do we counter that?
I think the first thing to bring about change in any way is to, of course, raise awareness. And if awareness isn't working, the next step you could do is enforcement. And I mean, just take Langkawi for instance. For the first few days, the police weren't there, as we know of. So they weren't there, and then the police went there after all the outcry on Twitter and on social media. And they've arrested, I think, 11 people doing the sweep, and that was when the numbers dropped significantly. So I think enforcement is very important. The area where I live in as well, for the first week, had lots of people just jogging and walking, and when we tell them that you're not allowed to do that, they always come back and say, oh, it's just social distancing, you're not with anyone. And that's quite hard because you're no one. And so I think a couple of us actually made police reports, not me, but some neighbours made police reports, and the police do come around now, and that has cut down the numbers significantly.
Yim, did you lodge any police report? If you say, if you happen to say?
Well, I didn't lodge any police report, but I was quite nasty on social media, pointing things out of, this is a picture or video of things that you as a runner shouldn't be doing. I'm not trying to belittle them, but I'm trying to set an example and a bit of education as to why and for each of them to realize that what impact it can have on them being outside, whether they are carriers or otherwise. Because I think one of the arguments that keeps on going is that, oh, but that country allows you to run a kilometer from your house, la 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 la. Why can't Malaysia do it? You know, I'm not saying that we should emulate them or they should emulate us. Whatever's being sanctioned by the authorities or by the government is, you know, for the best of the whole of Malaysia. The sooner we can break the chain, you know, the sooner we are free from this and we are back to our old ways of life. Yeah. If, like I say, I still like to use the moniker monkey see, monkey do. Yeah. Monkey sees what another monkey does, he or she follows suit. Because he does it, it's okay. I'm going to do it too. Yeah. So there was a lot of issues, debates going back and forth, trying to get everyone to understand that, you know, you need to be at home, no running allowed outside, period. But like Lisa said, if it has to come to enforcement, you know, which you all don't like, so be it.
Understood. Now, given that you two run it yourself, and I'm pretty sure you guys are in the running community, you know, you guys have your own comment page, and you guys, pretty sure you guys are talking about this and everything. Were there any conflicting opinions coming from both ends of the, like, you know, because like you as a runner, we, you know, those who run, we would probably expect that, like, we would hold on to the same mentality, but I'm pretty sure, like, based on that face, Yim, I can tell that there were a lot of heated arguments. You want to share with us?
Yeah. You know, it went as bad as having to being unfriended and blocked off from social media. You know, I'm sorry, it seems a bit childish, but you know, it did happen, unfortunately. But you know, to me, it's not my loss; it's just your loss. I'm trying to prove a point.
Got into it's personal.
No, it happens quite a number of times. I mean, we don't really want to get into a heated debate. We are just giving our view or looking at it in terms of us being set as the regulation set by the government, but they refuse to see it from that point of view. I mean, pretty much in denial. The more we try to educate, the more resistance, you know, they have on it, and it's just becomes so difficult to do that. And then, you know, there are cases that even a week after the CMO started, people were still doing it outside. Yeah. So with and as many others have been trying to be very nice, playing Mr. Nice Guy, advising, diplomatic, educating, blah 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 blah. You know, I can talk until the whole night and it never ends. But you know, at the end of the day, if they still want to be stubborn, it's just not much I can do about it, unfortunately.
Yeah. You, Lisa, you encountered any heated argument yourself, and how did you handle it? I know the whole purpose is to educate in the first place, but when that doesn't work,
I think there's only so much you can do online, particularly if you don't know that person. If it's your friend, then it's much easier to talk to. But as you know, the running community is so wide that most of them you just know on social media. So there's only so much you can do in terms of educating them, in terms of spreading awareness. But if they don't want to listen, then I guess, like you said, that it's, you know, there's not really much that you can do.
Yeah, and now it's for the police then now. I mean, actually, it's really good that the media highlighted the arrest cases, because I think after that news, right, people are actually talking about it in that light, and lesser. Like I wouldn't say there's no one running out there anymore, but lesser, significantly lesser. So yeah, now
I'm sure they are actually just not posting it on Strava or anything. They are smarter nowadays. I'm sure they are.
That's true. That's true. That's the hope that we are clinging onto, right? That's right. Now coming back to the general, to, you know, the whole context of the running community, because I still want to touch on the running community in Malaysia now that COVID-19 is here, unfortunately, and pretty sure that the government has announced or encouraged that there shouldn't be any mass gathering for the next 6 to 12 months. Now even Kuala Lumpur Standard Chartered Marathon has recently been cancelled. How will runners deal with the cancellation of events? I mean, are there alternatives that are gaining popularity, such as virtual runs? Any to recommend? This is one of the questions asked by someone in the comment box as well. Yeah. Anything that you want to recommend for us? Alternative outlet, basically.
In terms of races, I can't comment much on virtual runs, but I'd say that you can keep training, keep joining running groups. Those hopefully will still go on eventually. Not mass races, but groups where they're about like less than 30 people. Or less. I don't really know. I can't really predict the future, but hopefully groups can still go ahead, or like just a smaller sort of pack that you can run with, or still join running communities online, seeing people's updates, making sure that you're still within that community. That's quite important, especially if you're not going to have any races for the next 6 months, to just keep that motivation, keep that interest still alive.
That's the key point we're looking for. You got to keep that motivation going, right? I think definitely. Yim mentioned as well. Yim, you want to share with us? I know we are mentally prepared to anticipate there wouldn't be any major running events for the next 6 to 12 months, but you still want to share with us how should we approach this matter more delicately?
I'm just going to start off with runners can be a bit crybaby sometimes, unfortunately. When events get cancelled for great reasons, you get the whole shebang, comments going around why, how, and all these things, which I'm not going to cover. I'll get into. But judging by, we're into past our second week of CMO, and with today's announcement on cancellation of Standard Chartered Marathon, and looking at the comments being posted on their FB page, I think I would generally summarize it. I think probably 90% understands what's happening in the current situation and why it has to be cancelled and deferred till next year. So it has, to me, from what I can see, it has been taken quite literally well. Yeah. As for what virtual events that I'd recommend moving forward in the next 6 months, given that there won't be any huge running events, I haven't really seen that many. I've probably seen 1 or 2 so-called virtual runs. Honestly, I won't really recommend that, especially if it's a virtual run done especially at home only. I think what's more useful and impactful, as even Lisa has said, is that a lot of the elite and great runners and coaches or trainers have now started their so-called daily or alternate daily workout classes. They may not be fully about running, but it's a good variety of different exercise to start toning and working up your upper body in that sense. And I know runners are like that. They just like to run, right? When you tell them that, do you know that your core part is also important to sustain your long periods of running? No, I just like to run. And when you tell them and advise them, it says, no, I don't like to do crunches. I don't like to do squats. I don't like to do anything related with my upper body. But who knows? Give it a try. Give it a shot with some of the classes available from your friends or online now. And who knows? You might like it. And you might be surprised how it will change your performance and capability as a runner eventually over time.
That's true. I totally understand, especially for athletes out there, like average Joe, not the professional athletes we're talking about, like us, we always forgot the importance of conditioning because we thought that is the most tedious thing to do. We want to jump straight to the fun thing without actually considering that, look, if you give more attention to all these conditioning, these little things, that actually builds up. You can build you up as a better runner, as a better athlete out there. Right. I think that's Bin's. We actually plan to just go for a 40-30 minutes hangout session, but it's almost an hour.
Actually.
Yes, exactly. I was just start talking about things that we like. Yeah. So okay, moving forward, any last words coming from you guys? Any gentle reminders you want to share with public out there? I totally understand people are going crazy at home. They're seeking out outlets to channel their energy to. You have shared a very good advice. Start looking out for your trainers, those who share daily workout video and everything, right? Lisa, anything else that you want to share with us?
I'd just like to add, so a lot of people have sent me tweets saying, how do you even find the motivation to be active during the MCO? Because it's just impossible. All you want to do is just sit down, watch Netflix and eat. So I think the first step that anyone can do is stretching exercises, because that really warms you up. And then if you start stretching, you just want to do more. So just stand up and start stretching. And that sort of, that ensures that your blood's flowing. It's really good. It's really good as well for your joints. And also stretching in general just prevents injuries from happening. And so just get up, just stretch, and then you just feel very invigorated, very energized, and that's the first step, I'd say, to actually finding motivation to do something more.
That's nice. All right. Okay. I have a one question coming from Mark Jinmin. It was directed to Yim. He was asking, you jog 263 km in 36 hours indoor. Do you plan to do more if other runners from other countries beat your distance? Yim.
Okay, I'm not gonna say it will never happen. I always lie through that. It sometimes just might happen, but you never know. So, to be frank, the 263 km came at a spur of a moment. To be honest, that wasn't in my mind to even breach over 100 kilometers at that point of time. But as you get into the whole exercise, you feel good and everything's working. Your legs are not dislocated or whatever. And you say, okay, I can still walk. I can still go. Give it a 12. So I did. And then eventually that's the result. So it is, again, let me stress that it is not a competition worldwide. Like I said, don't compare yourself with others. There are plenty of better runners, stronger, faster than I. I admit that. Yeah. So what's the whole reason of you trying to compare who you are with them? Do what you're capable of. Do what makes you happy and content with is the way to go. Yeah, it's not about racking up the highest mileage in the shortest time or the longest time or whatever it is.
That's true. That's true. All right. One last question. I would direct this to Lisa, coming from Emmanuel. He's asking, how do you move on from one stage of running to another? For example, in your context, probably, from the normal running events to actually thinking of participating in Ironman.
I think, well, like Yim said, it's a high. It's very addictive, and you just really want to challenge yourself. So you start off by doing something. So little goals, I'd say, little steps. So your goal is to, let's just say, run 10 kilometers, and now you've done that. There's part of you that just don't want to stay in that position forever. You want to do more, and then you want to push yourself to do more. So my story was I started doing sky running in England, and I did that, and then I thought, what's the next step for me? And I've always wanted to do an Ironman. So I got a bike, I went for swimming lessons, and then I did the Ironman, which was a half Ironman, mind you. So I've got a next step, and my next step would be the full Ironman.
That's crazy. I think it actually occurred to you that probably this is the right time for me to go, to another step. I think I'm ready. Maybe at that point of time you thought that your body was ready for that. You've been training, so it's just a natural thing, not influenced by what I see people doing it. I want to do it. That's not the mentality, right?
No. I think it's just in our human nature to want, unfortunately, to want more, and that can be a good and bad thing. You just need to find a very healthy balance for that. So wanting more, wanting to do more, wanting to challenge yourself.
All right.
For me, it's like I like to use the analogy of playing a video game where you have various levels from level 1 until level 999. You start playing to that. Level 1 is, that's not too bad. It's easy to get away, and you go to level 2, and then why would you stop it there, right? You're curious what the next level entails. You want to find out, and the only way to find it is to get into it.
That's true. That's an analogy we could apply throughout whatever we do in life anyway, right? Okay, guys, thank you so much. We have gone overboard, but I've been wanting to trying to stop, but I myself enjoy this conversation so much. Thanks to you too. Right, and I think I'll wrap this up. And thanks so much for the insightful discussion on this affair. Which we don't want to make it. I don't want to make it. I know that when I filtered the people that I wanted to talk to, and I know that I made the right choices, because I don't want it to be an emotional discussion. It's more to very just for the purpose of raising awareness for us out there. I think it's been such an honor to have you two on board, and thanks to I'll just give a special shout out to Dr. Yong as well. I'm so sorry he couldn't join us. It would be lovely to have him on board as well, because he could speak from a doctor's point of view as well, right? So yeah, but I think we just have to keep on doing whatever that we have to do. Stay at home, keep on being productive, and stay healthy. All right. Thanks, Yim. And thanks, Lisa. Thank you for those who asked questions. If you guys have any more specific questions that you guys want to direct to the guests, you guys could always reach out. We tag them on Facebook accounts, and we do tag their Twitter accounts as well. You guys could always reach them out on that. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you. Have a good dinner later, and stay safe during this MCO. Hope that we would be running out there as soon as we can.
And wash your hands.
Yes, wash hands every single time.
Bye.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.